Hey. All right, so welcome back. It is me, Tawana of VLove, and I was on the video last week talking about a young lady that took her life, and my voice was gone, and it was really a hard week too. And I know that I just got sick because that was a way of God just sitting me down. And so I wanted to talk today about depression, and I've been depressed before, and last week was just kind of bringing on where I wanted to talk about some things to get us out of that mindset before we get to a place where we want to hurt ourselves or don't want to be here anymore, take our lives. And so I wanted to kind of like share my experience of what I've been through. And so VLove means vaginal love. Okay, so vaginal love, our girly parts, and then vaginal love means self-love. So a lot of times we think that down there is how we receive love when we're talking to guys and we're dating and we, in relationships. And that's not what VLove is. And so we're gonna start calling her VLove. And so what VLove is actually where, of course, our life giver, where it empowers us in order to stand into our creation and for us to be able to create a better self, our better selves. And when I say create our better selves, that was means the things that we're going through. So me being depressed since I was a young kid, because of my upbringing, kind of threw me off to a loop of being a loopy person. Okay. And I realized as I got older of how I was trying to fix some of those things. So like when I became a mom, I was like, okay, I was going to raise my children different. I was going to be a better person. I was going to be a better woman. I was going to be different from my family. And I was those things, but I still had some of those habits going on. And one of the habits that I had, because I was not receiving the love that my family received, and it looks like my mom and, I had family members who went through the same thing, that, we were finding any dude that accepted us, or any dude that putting himself into our VLove was someone who we wanted to be connected to. And I realized that's not what love was. So that was one of the reasons that sent me into a depression, is because I had the wrong meaning of love. And love was not down there. Love was right here and up here. And love is what I see in the mirror. And so a lot of times we don't look at ourselves in that way, is because we're not taught that. So me going through depression, as a kid, and not knowing how to deal with that as I got older. I guess when I was about 25, 26, when I left another depressed circumstance in my life, which was my kid's father, who depressed me a lot. And it was just like me coming from my childhood and leaving that, and then I left something else that I thought was love, and then I realized that was something that was depressing me and making me worse. And so when I left that around by 25, 26, I kind of gained this like sense of confidence. I gained this like sense of awareness of who I was, and I wanted to learn more about myself, but I still didn't know how to learn, because we don't think about therapists, we don't think about self-help books, we don't think about any of those things. We go to church and we hear these messages and we hear these sermons, and we absorb that for the day, and then it's lost in a couple of days. So that was my way of trying to gain some self-control and some self-love within myself, is by talking to God. But it wasn't until I was 36 years old, and I'm 43 now, that I had to learn that it was so much more deeper than that. So from 36, and then again, now I wasn't in a depressed relationship at this time, but it was a relationship that did get me to another depressed state. But it was that I had lost my job, my best friend had moved, one of my sons had got sick, we're having heart problems. It was a lot at one time, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And so I eventually ended up seeing a therapist. It was the best relieving, freeing thing that I could have ever done for myself, is because I go to God and I try to hear him, but I didn't know how to hear him, because my mind is processing 100 things a day, 100 things in a moment, and in a thought. And so I'm not even realizing that, okay, like I'm trying, but I'm trying hard, but I'm trying, but I'm not actually even getting what I needed. And then, me reading books, me trying to apply them, me writing down things that I'm learning, and I'm trying to apply these things in these books, but it's still something that's not in me. And seeing a therapist a therapist was able to kind of get in my head, and they allowed me to be able to see myself, because I'm able to now articulate the things that I've been through, of saying like, oh, my family had some dysfunction, or the women that I was trying to learn from had dysfunction. So how could I learn, ways of love, of loving others, or loving myself, or receiving love from man, if they never was aware of what that even was? And so talking to a therapist opened up my mind to something so beautiful, to be able to see myself and actually what I was going through and why I was going through them. Because a lot of times we don't know what we're going through. Like the young baby that I mentioned last week, I'm not going to even keep mentioning her name because it saddens me. And then, if you've heard about it, you heard about it. A popular young girl and young woman, should I say, and not having an outlet to be able to learn the skills or having the tools to be able to deal with life, because life can be so chaotic. And when you get into that depressed state, you have to find something to be able to release it in. And sometimes release it in kind of, find somebody who's inserting themselves into our VLove, and we're thinking that it's love until it's gone or something happens, of us diving into our goals or our desires or our dreams or our careers, or, our social media, where we're putting on this persona that is something that's really not, and it's just this facade. And then when you go and looking at other people's stuff and like, oh, it look like they're happy, and then you're posting your stuff and you think you're making it look like you're happy, but then there's something deep down inside of yourself that really is not there, that's not getting you to be able to connect with yourself. And so the therapist that was allowed to have me to kind of allow me to open up myself to be able to see some things in me that I wasn't aware that were there and where they came from. And so again, part of that was, watching, having my upbringing and seeing the people that was in my life and in my life, and how I was growing up, and, seeing all these things that's going on around me. And then when I got out of the dysfunction at 25, 26 years old, and me kind of hanging around women who were like, like this is life, or, we don't deal with people who is, chaotic and violent and men that talks crazy to women and things like that. And I've been seeing that since I was a kid. So I thought that was normal. So then when I started talking to guys, it's like, I now had this thing about myself, like, hey, let me watch how you talk to your mom. Let me watch how you talk to me. The first time you raise your voice, let me check that, because I don't like anyone raising their voice to me, because it's a trigger where now I'm going to be acting crazy. And then the therapist was able to kind of like show me like, okay, listen, so this part of you, it is you, and it may be considered dysfunction, but that dysfunction can turn into a lesson. And the lesson is that, hey, everybody has feelings. You have feelings, and now you need to be able to learn how to deal with your feelings so that you know how to talk and deal with other people. And then when you learn how to deal with your feelings, there's going to be less crap that you're going to accept from other people, because you're putting out this thing out here into the world, into the universe, that, hey, I'm a good person. I know how to respect people. I know how to be kind to people. And so now it's easy for me to be able to receive that, is because I'm putting that out there. And so I just beg of you that if you are feeling something, and, I'm going to be trying to do lives very often where, like, when you guys catch me on, my goal is to be having them done like early afternoon. If I can get them done every day, that is the goal. I don't set myself up. That's one thing I need to talk to my therapist. Like, why don't I, commit to doing, this one thing? But I know what it is that, like, I be like, I have to get ready. I have to do this, which is why I'm going to be doing the lives, is because I don't want to have to do editing. I wanted this just to be ad lib, to just be real. And then for whatever comments and whatever questions, when people start coming on here, because right now it's 0, and that's cool. I want to put like this out here is because I know that someone's going to see it. And my goal is that if I can touch one person, that's what VLove is. If I can touch one person to be able to love her VLove, to be able to now start loving more from her heart, to be able to start thinking with her mind, of like putting herself first and the love for herself first, like that one thing, be able to connect everything together to be able to make us better women, for us to be able to love all the way on ourselves. And then when we love on ourselves like that hard, it gives us to be able to love out. And me having my therapist got me to the point where I'm like, okay, like now everything, like, okay, I mentioned I always time, like I'm always wearing hearts. My company is VLove. I'm always something with love, is because that is who I've always been. And now that I get to see that is by me talking to a therapist to kind of like, undo all of that chaos that was put inside of me. I'm not that person who I grew up to be. Like, I was never that person. It's because I've always had love. But when you're going through chaos, that anger, that chaos be inside of you, you don't know how to let it go. know, because you've never had the tools to be able to deal with it. And so the therapist, again, and I've even at 18 years old, right before I graduated, I tried to commit suicide. And I'm so thankful that I did not. And I'm so thankful now that I have the tools. And I pray that I get to be a tool for you guys, is because I know that even though that right now, if you're watching this because you see the words depression and how to deal with it in the title, this is exactly for you, so that you can understand that today is not the day for you to leave this earth. Today is the day for you to be able to get the tools and the skills that you need to become the better version of yourself. And if there's anything that I can do in order to get you there, that is what these videos are for. So if you have one of those, please do not hesitate to comment in a video. Please make sure that you subscribe, because I want to know that you guys are receiving what I'm putting out there, because it's going to make me be like, okay, hold up, they need me. Put these videos out here. You guys are my babies, the same way that I have the young women that in my lives that I want to be able to continue to help. And, you know, with the situation with the young lady taking her life now, I've just made sure that I'm more present there. And that's because I know it being present when I got my therapist, and she being there the way that I needed her to be, of, you know, of telling me and showing me and, you know, giving me those tools and showing me that love and that care, even though it wasn't love because she was being paid for it, but it was able to find someone on the outside to give me exactly what I needed so that I can learn what I needed on the inside of me. So I hope this helped you guys, and I will see y'all on the next video.